Hey, it's Nolan. Welcome to the third episode of the Parish Life Podcast. I'm here with some friends that I met just this week here at the Clergy-Laity for the Metropolis of San Francisco. I'm actually in the Metropolis of Denver, but I am one of the co-directors of the Metropolis of San Francisco's Missions and Evangelism Ministry with Kenny Scott and brother Jerry as well. And you two are from Kenny's parish in Prescott.
Correct. I'd say Kenny's from my parish.
Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly it. So, you're from
Oregon, Roseburg,
Oregon. So we've got a little bit of a Colorado, Oregon, Arizona thing happening here. But would really love to just start out with, let people know your name, tell a little bit of your story after we do the names. So I think Ty.
Yeah, I'm Ty Freedman.
Awesome.
From Prescott, Arizona.
Excellent.
Lisa Buck, Roseburg, Oregon.
And Eden Sears, also from Prescott, Arizona.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, Lisa, why don't you kick us off with your story? Just how did you convert into Orthodoxy? Were you born into it?
I did. I converted, and actually, it was almost an accidental conversion. Really, my husband and I, we were both raised in faithful families, moved to the West Coast, and just kind of drifted. Had kids. We were doing our own thing. We church hopped. We visited every single church in the entire town. In fact, we would split up. My husband would go to one, and I would go to the other. And he told me one time, well, we had kids. So I'm like, I'd be with the kids, and he would go to another one. And one time, I remember we were in the station wagon, Subaru, because I'm from Oregon. And we had the kids in the back, and I said, I can't take the kids into another church.
Your Texan just came out.
Yeah.
I can't.
I am originally Texan. That is true. So he goes into the church, and he's back in about 30 seconds. And he was like, I had to smell it. That was it. It smelled bad. We're get in the car. We're going to hit the next one.
Smelled Pentecostal.
I mean, we were totally church hopping. But then at some point, we just quit. I mean, what's the point?
It's exhausting.
Oh, it's exhausting. And so on the outside, we looked like we were doing fine. I mean, we loved each other.
Sure.
And the kids were great. Everything was fine, And
Note for the audio listeners, there's a lot of air quotes happening.
There's a lot of air quotes right there. So a really good friend of mine invited me to a girls' weekend in Portland, Oregon, and I was super excited about that. My husband watched the kids, and
now, was that church affiliated? Just a girls'
no,
weekend?
it was cocktail affiliated.
Oh, okay.
Actually, we were going to go to Pal's Bookstore, which is an amazing independent bookstore. We got a hotel room, and our husbands were watching our kids, right? So we were going to have a great time.
Books and hotel rooms. That's
rager. Super exciting for us.
My wife is down.
Oh yeah, we were in bed by 9:30. I mean, we were so excited.
List of 3 things I won't do when I go to Portland.
So my friend, who is not religious at all, really, she said, I want to stop by this Greek festival because they have really good donuts and coffee on our way to the cocktail bar. And I was like, all right, we'll check it out. But unbeknownst to her, on the way to this girls' weekend, it was a torrential rainstorm. I was driving in my car, and I just started crying. And I just said, God, I'm done. I'm done. I don't know where you are. I don't know what you want from me. I don't know where I can find you. I know because I was raised in a faithful Protestant Southern Baptist Texas family. I knew God existed, but I had no idea how to have a meaningful life and how to make my marriage meaningful, how to make my relationship with my children meaningful. I mean, it was just, I was in so much pain.
Wow.
And I was just saying, God, all right, if you want me to be a Pentecostal and speak in tongues, do it. I'll do it. You want me to be a Buddhist? I'll do it. I mean, I just something has to be different.
Yeah.
And so we go to the Greek festival, and I ate the donuts, and I drank the coffee, and that was amazing. And we went ahead and did a church tour only because our reservation at the cocktail bar, we still had some time, right? So we did a church tour, and we're looking at the art, and it's all cool, and everything's great. And somebody on our tour looked at the icon of the crucifixion. Wow. And if you're familiar with that icon, there's a little skull at the bottom of the cross. And the person said, what is that skull there? And the deacon said, well, that's the skull of Adam. And the person on the tour said, well, how do we know that's the skull of Adam? I mean, is it really the skull of Adam? What was the cross? Like, got really technical with it.
It's
And
actually a
Very
painting.
literal. Yeah, I was going to say it's a painting on a wall.
Yeah, not the real thing.
The deacon said something that totally blew my mind apart. And I am not going to quote him perfectly, but he just looked at the guy and he was so kind. And he just started laughing. And he said, the icon represents what's real. Not what we see, not this world, but the real.
That's so good. Yeah.
And I just thought, what in the world? I mean, I had to sit down. It just totally kind of blew my mind. So I went to the next church tour that same day. And then we went and got the lamb meal because I wasn't ready to leave, and looked at the bookstore, and then drank some wine and ouzo and stuff. And then I went on another church tour, and the deacon kind of said, we're closing
You did a second one in the same day?
we did 3 in the same day because
They
I
get
just
free
wanted to
samples
know
of
what
wine
was
every
going on.
tour.
Oh, I got
And,
it. I got it. Okay.
And the deacon finally said, we're going to do Vespers in a minute. I mean, the festival's over, but if you want to do Vespers. So I went to Vespers, and I thought, I'm not ready to go. And of course, my friend is like, we had reservations, but okay, we'll do this if you want, you know?
Wow.
So
what started out as killing time waiting for the reservation turned
Yes.
into killing the reservation.
exactly.
And finding the
So-
resurrection.
So after Vespers, the deacon came up to us and said, well, it's either you leave or there's a restraining order going to happen, or you can come back to liturgy tomorrow. We said, oh, all right, I guess we'll try liturgy. So we showed up like good Protestants in our skinny jeans and our coffee. And
I made my wife leave her coffee in the car the first time we came, and she's still mad about it. It's a decade later.
we came in and then immediately exited and hid them in the bushes right at the front of the door when we saw nobody else had
That's
coffee.
awesome. That's awesome.
So we went to the liturgy, and I don't know. I wasn't sure about it. It was, it was a very Greek church, and people were kind, mostly because I was so nervous. I mispronounced my name, and they thought I was Greek. So they were very kind to me, asking me if I was married.
You didn't
and
say
available.
Linda, though.
No, I didn't.
It's not Linda.
So, no. So we went to the service, and the moment in the great entrance when the priest is walking through the congregation and he's holding the chalice, which is now I know, right, is representing the offering that the people are giving to God that will be transformed into the body and blood of Christ.
I'm so glad you got that theologically right. I did not want to have to correct you.
The moment that the chalice came even with our pew, I had an experience of Christ, and that I can only explain as a mystical experience. I couldn't talk for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
My friend thought I was having some sort of panic attack or something. I was just very stunned. I was stunned because I absolutely knew that Christ was in this church, and that I had asked. It's like God said, here I am.
Wow.
You asked for me, and here I am.
That's amazing.
And I just
It's like a St. Mary of Egypt type story.
didn't know
it's
what
just-
to
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Reminds me
In
of that.
so many ways,
Yeah.
because my life on the outside looked so fine, but wasn't. So I went home very shaken, and granted, this church is 4 hours away from my house. So I went home to my husband.
Isn't everything 4 hours away from your house?
It is. Just to be clear, I live in a tiny off-the-grid cabin in the middle of the Oregon woods. So the mailbox is
4
40
hours.
minutes from my house, if that
Nice.
helps.
That's
So
awesome.
I went home to my husband and I told him, "Look, you gotta come with me to this place." And so he went the next week. We drove 4 hours back, and he went.
Did you stay the night somewhere, or did you
We
come?
had friends in the
Okay, that's
area,
good.
so
I'm
we
like
were
8
able to
hours
stay.
round trip. That's
Yeah.
that's commitment.
And we actually, he had an experience as well. I don't want to tell his story so much, but it wasn't pleasant. Like mine was
Sure.
very pleasant,
Yeah.
but his was fearful. And we went home and we came back the next week. And finally, some sweet lady at the church said, "Why are you driving 4 hours? You know there's Orthodox churches everywhere." So she told us about one that was only 2 hours from our house. So
better.
it's so much better. So
Considering half of that is just to get to the mailbox.
yes,
That's not so
exactly.
bad,
So that started our journey, and
Amazing.
it wasn't long. We were drowning people who found a raft.
Amazing.
So we didn't have to consider. We didn't have to think. Nobody had to convince us. We pretty much, our priest recognized that and pretty much said, I have 10 minutes. We're going to exercise and baptize you right away because you
Whoa.
need it. And
That's amazing.
Yeah.
it wasn't quite that. I'm being
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
yeah, sure.
hyperbolic, but he brought us into the church because he recognized that we were a family in destruction.
Yeah. Okay.
And since, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't even know this. My son, who was 10 years old, roughly at the time, I didn't even know. At 9 years old, he had decided that he was an atheist.
Really?
He had
That's fascinating.
decided that none of this made any sense. He had made a commitment to an atheist lifestyle at 9 years old. I had no clue. And within months of him making that commitment, he's baptized into the Orthodox Church.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
is just a
screaming?
beautiful and faithful.
Embracing or like, oh,
Embracing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
It's like, what are you doing to me?
It took him one service.
No way.
He went one service,
Wow,
and he
that's
grabbed my hand during the service and said, "Something's
Giving up my
happening."
3 months of atheism.
Exactly.
Awesome.
As a
Glory to
9-year-old,
God. Glory
as
to
a
God.
9-year-old,
That's awesome.
as a 9-year-old homeschooled hippie kid. I mean, you know,
His convictions were deeply rooted.
yeah, right. Yeah, he didn't even know enough to call
He's
it
like,
atheism at the time.
I'm in the
right?
first chapter of the manifesto right now.
Right. So that was
but
the
his
beginning of
child-
that was our story.
His child response to what he had encountered was to say, this doesn't make sense at
Yes.
that age.
Yes.
Right.
And then to encounter orthodoxy and to say, this resonates with my humanity.
Right.
I think
Yes.
my mic is going in and out, so forgive my audio. I'm not supposed to talk much anyway. I want to hear your stories. But we'll have to come to Roseburg and get your husband's story on here too sometime. That'll be really, really awesome.
We have and since then, it's just been difficult, beautiful, life-giving, torturous, terrifying, amazing. I can't imagine it any other thing. I can't imagine any other way to be. I mean, I could take every podcast for
Yeah.
the rest of your life to
Yeah.
tell you the rest of our journey. It's just amazing.
I love that. I love it. Eden,
Oh, okay.
follow that up.
All right. I'll do my best. No promises.
I mean, did you grow up Christian?
No. So
Let's start there.
quite the opposite, actually.
Okay, all right.
My parents were divorced.
Sorry,
When I was-
this is my godson, so I'm
Yeah.
just chuckling because I know what he's
Yeah,
about to say.
it's about to. I'll drop it right now. So yeah, my parents divorced when I was 6, and my mother began a lesbian relationship with my dad's sister, my aunt. Right? Yeah. So
Oh, you have a story.
yeah, it's about to get real.
Podcast viewers just tuned in a little bit
Yeah.
more.
They're like, wait.
They were sleeping.
Your
Yeah.
aunt?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I still called her, my aunt, but yeah. So it was
wild.
it was a weird upbringing, and I didn't see my dad for the majority. I didn't see him again until I was about 14, like maybe 9th grade,
Yeah, yeah.
and so my mother came to Christ when I was about 17. She was in a motorcycle accident. She stopped being a lesbian when I was in about 12th grade, and 7th grade, at 12 years old, and then when I was 17, she was in a motorcycle accident, and she lived, but she was in like a cast, and, the arms couldn't move, that kind of thing, and she had a come to Jesus moment, and the church closest to us, where she started going, and she started inviting me all the time. And I finally relented just to get her to stop asking me because it was getting annoying. But it was an AME, as an African Methodist Episcopalian church. So her and me and my stepfather were the only Caucasians in the congregation.
Okay.
And I did my best to look like Kurt Cobain back in those days. So I really stood out quite a lot from the rest of the people in the church. And so I was 17 then, and I actually tried to live a very faithful Christian life. I ended up, as I became an adult, found myself in a charismatic, non-denominational church, and met my wife there, married there. I was an assistant pastor there for quite a few years, and moved to Prescott, Arizona in 2011, gave up being in ministry, and it was in 2020 that my marriage started to go through some significant difficulties that tragically ended in divorce in 2022. And so in 2020, well, I'll back up just a hair. Around 2019, a friend of mine, also Protestant, we read a book. I get the order wrong, but I think it's Bread, Oil, Water, Wine. So it's a book on Orthodoxy, on the sacraments.
Yeah.
And so I was intrigued when I first read that book, to check out an Orthodox church. And in Prescott, Arizona, there is only one Orthodox church. And so I went there. I enjoyed it as an experience, but had no real thought of, conversion. And then COVID happened, and I was working at a boarding school.
Okay.
And so I really didn't leave campus for almost an entire year.
Wow.
I lost 2021, but that's also when my marriage really started to fall apart. And so after my divorce was final, I found myself looking over the scorched earth that was my life. And I was kind of at a place where I thought, it was an existential crisis. Yeah. I was either get rid of God and Jesus and Christianity altogether, or rearrange how I'm going to approach him. Well, that same buddy who had read that book with me back in 2019, I read two books in this is now 2022, 2023. I read two books at the same time that were very influential on me. The first one, not related at first, I thought, to Orthodoxy, was a book called The Unseen Realm. And it's written by a Protestant author, Dr. Heiser, who recently passed. And what it essentially deals with is, in Orthodox circles, what we might call the divine council.
Okay.
It deals with, the war between angels and demons and, all that kind of stuff. And it was really revelatory. It was not something that was ever a focus of any Protestant sermon that I had ever heard for the previous 20 years of my Christian experience. Yeah. So it really blew my mind, and it caused me to start to question a lot of what I had been taught. Because in the Protestant arena that I grew up in, it was always truth, truth, truth. We preached the uncompromising truth of the gospel, no flex on the truth. So I'm starting to reassess some of the things that I had previously considered about Christianity. But the other thing that I could not for the life of me forgive my ex-wife for the things that had happened that led up to our divorce. And I tried. I would sit in prayer, and it was as if something was like holding my tongue back. I couldn't get the words, "Lord, I forgive her," to come out of my mouth. Wow. But what I could say was, "Lord, help me." The Father
help me
who's
with my unbelief.
help me with my unbelief. I know theologically that I need to forgive, but I'm unable to do it at this point. Please help me. Yeah. And so that same buddy recommended the book, The Ethics of Beauty by Dr. Patisis.
I finished that last year. It took me a minute.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's a doorstopper. It's a thick one.
Yeah, I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, that'll be for somebody else.
There's a new version out that's a lot skinnier, and I don't know if they changed the font size or what. It's like, don't intimidate people as much.
The Cliff Notes version. Yeah. So where that book, the part that was the most transformative as I was going through it was, he was talking about dealing with my own sin. Like even if I didn't particularly cause a situation, or it wasn't, I wasn't the offender per se, still I have sinned, and I have caused the overall level of sin in the world to rise. Yeah. And so as I began to deal with my own sin and walking through that process of repentance with the Lord, that I was able to finally get to a place where I can forgive her.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then as I started to come into the Orthodox Church, so again, my interest is now peaked, and I'm going through these processes of repentance. And so as I start to step through that and start to come into the Orthodox Church, I'm sitting and I'm listening to Vesper services, and they're talking about Christ defeating the demons and everything that is in the Orthodox Church about, the divine council and Christ's victory over the enemy, and
it's resonating with your newfound experience.
Right, like these two things converged in the Orthodox Church.
So how did you find the ethics of beauty? What
So
was I missed the connection
it was-
from your not knowing Orthodoxy existed to suddenly now you're in.
The same Protestant buddy that
Okay.
we had read that book in 2019 together, I've been in a book club group. We meet every Thursday morning and have for a decade.
Wow.
And so as I was just sharing with my friends, like, this is really something I'm struggling with, is forgiveness. It just clicked in his mind, like, hey, I was told to read this book. I've never read it, but I think you should read it. And I'm like, okay, why not? And so I read a book without, the guy, it was on recommendation, but not previously reviewed. And I did it.
That is such an edge case. I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in project management or product management. We're always talking about how many users use the thing and
Yeah.
what percentage. And the idea that a non-Orthodox person would even know an Orthodox book like that existed and then recommend it. I mean, there's clearly the Holy Spirit is at work in this moment.
guy he's really a wonderful man.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys that has a job that's in the Protestant world.
Okay.
So when that job goes away, he'll be at the church.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I got it. So he's
He doesn't
already
know it yet.
exploring.
He would not say that to us.
He went to Viola University, and the dean of students there, I believe it was the dean of students, was Orthodox, and so he's had Orthodox influences in his life.
There'll be a prize for the first viewer that can tell us who this person is. Yeah. Like you've got some elements. Go do your Googling. No.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, if he ever Googles me and finds me on a podcast and listen to this, I will have a phone call shortly thereafter. But he's a good buddy, and I love him to death.
That's good. That's good.
He was there for my chrismation. So
beautiful.
yeah, I mean he's
Another fact you can search on.
yes.
Was it live streamed? We might be able to-
I don't think it was.
Okay.
Well, it was during a reader. No, it was during a. I don't know. It was right before Theophany. I don't think it was live streamed.
Yeah.
No.
It's all good. We'll make him work harder for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So then you got Ethics of Beauty.
Yeah.
How did you make the jump from the book to the services, to the actual church?
Yeah, so in Prescott, Arizona, and all of like Yavapai County
Yeah.
in Arizona, there is only one Orthodox church, and it's ours.
Okay.
And again, I had Googled it back in 2019.
Not to offend the small missions that are there that you didn't mention.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you RoCore guys, we love you. Yeah, so there was I went there in 2019, and then as I started to go through this process of repentance, and so it was really a paradigm shift of, instead of wanting to pursue God from a truth first standpoint, it was, let me pursue God from a beauty first standpoint.
That's the essence of the book.
Yes, exactly. And so as I began to come back, or as I began to come into the Orthodox Church, again, there was only one in town that I really could go to.
So you just started Googling it and then you went there.
Yeah, like I knew the church. I had been there once previous. And again,
This
I knew
was 2022, 23?
I started going, I think I started going back around January 2024.
Okay.
And
Fresh.
January 20, no. In January 2024, I became a catechumen. So
okay.
it was actually early 2023.
Wow.
Right, my divorce was April 2022.
Got it.
And about January 2023 is when I started coming.
Okay.
And it went from like once a month to then twice a month to then on and on and on until I was like, okay, I have to make a decision here.
Yeah.
And actually, what I ended up doing to make my decision was,
We do have ambient sound because we are outside.
We are
just doing
recording
this one
live
scene.
outside.
Live at a camp.
It's all good. It's
A bunch
real.
of priests might walk through at any moment.
It's possible.
I went to the monastery, St. Anthony's. I was really on the fence. Like, are these Orthodox people? Are they heretics? Are they idol worshipers? What's going on? And so as I was trying to make my decision as to whether or not I was going to come into the faith, I decided I need to go see the most extreme version of Orthodoxy that I can prior to making my decision. So I went down to monastery, St. Anthony's in Arizona. It's about a 2.5 hour drive from where we live, maybe 3 hours. And
Because
so,
you speed.
yeah.
there's
I
no way
drive.
it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, if you're a highway patrol officer, I did break the speed limit.
Another thing to search for.
Review the cameras on I-17. So I went down there for Theophany, and of course they're on Athonite time, so that service began at about 11 p.m. and it didn't end until about 5 a.m. It was pretty radical. Of course, it was all in Greek, and I didn't understand a single word of it. But when it was all said and done, as it was all said and done, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is so wild.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Well, Kenny Scott was at that parish, wasn't he? And I think maybe the viewers can see him because he's in the back of the
He's our backdrop.
You can wave anyway. Well, he's been just monitoring like the teacher in the
Missions and evangelism.
That's it. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Amazing story.
Thanks. Yeah.
Well, Ty, you're up next.
Okay.
Grinder, 2006.
Yeah, I had a great Grindr account. I grew up in an incredible Baptist family.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was a Baptist pastor. My dad went to Western Bible College in Denver, which turned into CCU, Colorado Christian University.
Okay.
Faithful. I loved the Lord my whole life in the sense of like, I didn't really know, the world was uncomfortable for me. Like being out there. I did not do socially well in school. I was in Lakewood, Colorado, is where I was born and raised. And it was interesting because what shifted was I was actually doing youth ministry is probably 1999, 1999, 20 years earlier. 1999, my brother was at Wheaton College, so very Baptist school, getting his theology degree, and he converts to Roman Catholicism.
Wow.
And I'm like, what's my brother doing? Like my brother, I followed him in youth ministry, so I was actually doing youth ministry at that point in the Baptist church we grew up in. And he chooses Roman Catholicism. He went Anglican for like 6 months to a year. I went out for his chrismation or baptism into the Anglican church.
Interesting.
As Baptists, we weren't baptized.
Right.
My parents never encouraged me to get baptized, which was really weird. But so he got baptized into the Anglican church on campus of Wheaton. And then a year later, he's joining the Catholic Church. And I knew my brother, and I love my brother. And I'm like, how is it possible he's worshiping Mary and saints and now on the path to hell? You know, like that's what I was told these guys were on.
Yeah.
That's like every Baptist book written about Roman Catholics. That's where they're
Their
going.
works-based salvation.
Yeah,
of course.
like this is just messed up. And so I was just like dumbfounded. I'm like, I know my brother knows Jesus. I know he loves Jesus. What in the world's going on over in Chicago?
Yeah. Who got to him?
Yeah,
Right?
like what? Yeah,
What happened?
What broke?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I've read plenty of books about what Baptists believe, Roman Catholics believe. I've never asked Catholics what Catholics believe. And so I actually went to Notre Dame, which is just a few miles from my house. It's the local Catholic parish. And I said, hey, I want to come to your RCIA class, which is the conversion class for Roman Catholics. I said, I'm not here to convert, but I do want to know what my brother's doing in Chicago. But I want to know from your mouth, not his mouth.
Sure.
So I did every Tuesday night for a year,
Wow.
talking about questions that all the converts were having. It was beautiful. I think what I came away with, I didn't convert. I had a lot of friends in that class that we made over that year
Sure. Yeah.
that did convert, and I went to their Easter vigil, and it was beautiful and life-giving. But I'm like, I still have problems. Right? I still have my disagreements with it. Now I understand it from their perspective. The deacon who led the class was incredible. But what it did for me was just go, okay, like it's not as black and white as I was raised to believe it was.
Yeah. It's not as simple as this, that, and then you're good.
Yeah, like I asked them, I'm like, how is it possible you guys worship Mary? This is crazy.
Right.
And they're like, what are you talking about? It's a sin to worship Mary. And I'm like, prove it. They're like, open your catechism book to page, whatever, and it's right there. And I'm like, that is not what the Baptist told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was Baptist like trying to badmouth them. I think it was just ignorance. Right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I had a similar experience of just everything about other faith confessions being so overly simplified that you thought, well, how could anybody be that crazy?
Too many
And the
strum-
truth is, how could anybody be that crazy?
Yeah.
It isn't.
Right. Yeah. They're not that crazy, in fact.
Right.
Well, we like to straw man the people we don't agree with.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call them Linda. If I build a straw man, her name is Linda. Every time.
Poor Lisa is going to be forever remembered by the interwebs.
Oh, man.
as Linda.
This is an inside joke. We had a meeting earlier, and Lisa got called Linda publicly, and I think that was pretty funny.
And now it's continuing.
Yeah, I think I'm Linda now.
I'm just
I
going to
think
carry it
that's what's
on
gonna
until next year. She'll have the same name.
You should call ahead and have him print her name tag.
We'll do parentheses.
This is my new reality.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Okay.
it.
I just met you today, but I love you.
Yeah.
It's all
Lin-
good.
I love you,
Linda's
Linda.
amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, I love you, Linda.
Lisa's okay. Linda's amazing.
Wait a minute. Now I've got a whole other thought about dual personality. But go
yes.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That'll be at the
Keep-
next
keep in your
podcast.
story.
In the skit, we'll interview
Yeah.
both Linda and Lisa.
Yes. So at the time of going to RCIA, I was a Young Life leader in Jefferson County, Colorado.
Okay.
I ran a club for alternative kids. I had like the Last Chance School, and then my wife's alma mater. That was like a kind of a urban suburban school, and it was wonderful. But what I did was I'm like I was actually teaching one night, and I realized I was regurgitating a sermon from my youth pastor. And I'm like, with everything I'm learning about who Christ is according to the Romans, and everything I'm teaching in this lesson right now, I'm like, I need to do some original study. And so I broke away, and I took a leave of absence from Young Life as a team leader, and I moved to Estes Park, Colorado, where I met Bo Byer.
I know where Estes Park is. I've rode my bike to Estes
Yes.
Park.
So he goes to church with one of my good buddies who also became Orthodox after our Bible school
Hey,
experience.
Bo, if you're watching,
Yeah.
I'll be sure to send you the link.
But so I decided that I know Jesus because I've had experiences with him.
Yeah.
And I know that I believe, at least I was holding on to, this testimony of his life in Scripture is his testimony. And so I went to school going, it was a little Protestant school. It was beautiful, hardest year of my life, but probably one of the best years of my life. But I went with this, my presupposition was Christ is real, his Scriptures are his testimony, but I'm going to try to hold everything else loosely. And so we went. I didn't know about Orthodoxy at that moment. I knew there was a Greek Orthodox church downtown. It was beautiful, whatever. I didn't think of them as Christians in any way, but I knew they did pretty things. So kind of going to the beauty thing without even thinking about it being beautiful. I remember in my undergrad, no, not undergrad, but my gen ed classes, I did a paper on how beautiful the cathedral was.
That's the thing about beauty is you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, you're just there. You're like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's really cool to look at.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
It grabs you, and then there's something transcendent behind you that pulls you in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then your brain starts going, what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that priest who was at that church that I was doing the paper on is here now. So that's wild to me.
Yeah.
But so I went to Bible school. And while I was at Bible school, one of my volunteers in Young Life back in Denver goes, hey, I'm going to this Arabic church. And I'm like, it was 2002, right? So literally on the anniversary of 9/11, we start school. It's our first day of school.
Wow.
And so during that year, he says this, and I'm like, you're going to church with terrorists? How do you do that? Like all Arabs are Muslim, right? In my mind.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Because I'm just a nice little protected suburb boy. And he didn't even tell me he was Orthodox. But I did go see him get chrismated by Father Apostolos, who's here.
Okay. Yep.
And at the Greek church, he actually got chrismated in the Greek church. And then later on, maybe the year after Bible school, we went to Pascha. And I hated every minute of it.
Really?
It was half in Greek, half in English.
Oh, okay. So this was hard to follow.
It was in the middle of the night.
Meta-narrative that has been a subject within our conference this week.
Yes.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, that might be coming later.
Yeah.
But I left in the middle of it. I'm like, I'm exhausted. My buddy, who was my co-leader in Young Life, my phone starts ringing in the middle of Pascha, which I'm sorry, I didn't have my silent on. It was 2003, 4. And
Motorola flip phone.
Yeah, it was not like a smart thing.
Yeah.
And I left. But while I was at Bible school, I did say, okay, if I'm going to do a comparative study, like I did a comparative study on Eucharist or communion back then, right? And I took 3 Catholic resources, 3 Orthodox resources, and 5 Protestant resources. And I'm like, I'm gonna weight this toward my bias.
Yeah.
And I came out going, dude, the Catholics and Orthodox have way more scriptural support for what they believe. And I never dealt with those verses that they were working with, right?
Yeah.
And so I came out of Bible school going, well, I can fix the church. I'm 23 now, and I'm here to fix the world. I've got all the knowledge I need. I've had 1 year of Bible school. It wasn't even like an accredited program. It was straight up like a certificate program.
I've learned how to walk, and I've got lots of energy.
Yes, I'm here to save the world. And I actually ended up quitting. I quit reading a lot of the Orthodox stuff I started reading from those studies because I was scared to lose my job.
Yeah.
I was a Protestant youth worker in a Protestant world, and I did do enough research to realize that Orthodox don't really have many paid youth positions, and if you get one, you're usually a priest or a seminarian. And I'm like, I'm not giving this up. I loved my ministry. I loved high school students. I loved doing ministry with non-Christian high school students, introducing them to Christ.
Fascinating.
It was beautiful. And then my uncle came to visit from Alaska. My uncle, who went to Denver Seminary, he had a master's in counseling from Denver Seminary.
Okay.
And he flew down from Alaska to have a surgery at National Jewish Medical Center in Denver.
Yeah. My wife's been there for other things.
Yes.
Long haul COVID stuff, but yeah.
It was beautiful because he had to fly to Denver to get have a surgeon that knew the surgery he needed to do.
Yeah.
They literally removed his face and messed
Oh
with
my
his sinuses.
gosh.
It was cool.
Whew.
It was Face Off. Remember
I was
Face
gonna
Off?
say,
Yeah. They put John Travolta's face on him. Much better improvement. So much better looking. But he came in, and he's like, when he gets off the plane, I'm like, oh, what's going on? He's like, I became Orthodox. And I'm like, ¿Qué pasa? That's all the Spanish I knew.
Now, is your brother still Catholic at that
Yeah,
time?
my brother stayed in the Roman Church.
Okay.
He is in Chicago still at that point.
Yeah.
Going to St. Thomas. No, Father Thomas was his pastor. I don't remember the church's name, but downtown Chicago. And I'm like, cool. Well, hey, I know there's a Greek church down here. You want to go hit one of the services? And we hit a matins.
Yeah.
And I had a 6-month-old kid. I was a youth.
Wow.
At that point, I was no longer with Young Life. I was actually working with an emergent church as a youth pastor there, or the youth director, because I didn't have a degree. And I brought my 6-month-old kid. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna get like scolded for bringing my kid in, as I do in my church. People didn't love that I brought my kid into church. So we went to the cathedral downtown where Father Apostolos was the pastor, and I don't even know if he was the priest that day at the matins. All I remember is this: it was 5 people, right? They did it in the chapel,
Yeah.
and this little old Greek lady started turning around. I'm like, crap, here comes the scolding for bringing my kid into this holy place. And she just started smiling and playing with my kid. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, what happened here? Like, I thought I
Beautiful.
like totally just flipped it on me.
Yeah.
And so we went away, and I told my uncle, I said, I studied some of that Orthodoxy stuff, but I decided I couldn't like give up my job. I couldn't give up I couldn't give up my ministry. This is what the Lord's called me to do.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, now this is 2008. So this is 5 years after Bible school graduation. And I really had put a hold on all my reading because I didn't want to convert my heart to something I didn't want to go to
Yeah.
internally. And he just said something. And actually, I just saw him for the first time since that day.
Really?
I saw him last week in Houston. And he said, you can't not follow God because of money. And I said, I'm doing a pretty good job avoiding this because of money. Because I didn't have a degree.
Yeah.
I never went to CCU like my parents. I was going to. I chose not to. I did some like more like entrepreneurial like, what do you call it? When you follow somebody around and do what they do.
Apprentice?
Yes, I apprenticed my youth pastor and it was great. And I learned how to be a youth pastor without
I
going
think
to
it's
school.
also called discipleship. When you
That is another thing, yeah. And it worked out great. And I
Let's
loved
stick
that
with
ministry.
discipleship.
Yeah, we'll go with discipleship. Yeah. But he said that, and I'm like, dang, that's corrective. And
Yeah.
so I took him seriously. I started reading again. Now I was still a youth pastor at that time. And but my pastor, my lead pastor that was in charge of our church in Wash Park there, he was good with it. Like I talked with him about what I was reading, and he's like, yeah, I almost looked to Orthodox myself. I just didn't feel like they were missional enough.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
funny with this weekend's topic,
Well,
right?
That's a great segue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is perfect. And I eventually started reading, and then we started going to services. My wife walked into the first service. We went to a Vespers. And now I'd emailed the priest before, and I just said, hey, I'm a Protestant. I'm coming to your church for this service. I hope I don't offend. I have no idea what's going on. I had read some books, and I was interested, and I liked the history and the theology. And then I'm like, get to the end of it, he comes out to me. And now, luckily, he was an evangelical convert himself. In the OC, I was at a little OCA church called St. Herman's. And he goes, what do you think? I'm like, that was the worst thing I've ever been to in my life. And my wife goes, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'm home.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no, you're not home because I got problems. And I do have problems. To be honest with the viewers, I have problems.
Yeah. And on behalf of his wife, he does have problems.
Yes. And And at that point, I'm like, okay, like I got to make a real look at this.
Yeah.
And so we started going whenever I wasn't responsible for services at my church, which was, there's so many Orthodox services. There's plenty to go to. I didn't go to Sundays, and my wife would go to Vespers without me because I was doing youth group. Yeah. We did make the introduction class on Tuesday nights together, and it was wonderful. But then like one day, it was probably 3/4 of a year into those classes. I was sitting there and I turned to this Lutheran pastor from Denver that was like in the classes with me. I'm like, what are we going to do? Our incomes come from our Protestant churches. And here we are in this class. We've been in here for a long time having great conversations, realizing this is where we want to worship Christ. And we would have to quit our ministries. And he looks at me, he's like, I've already put in my 2 months notice so they can have plenty of time. Wow. And I'm going to move to Montana and work with my family restaurant so that I can convert. And I'm like, that's so bold. I'd never do that. And he goes, well, that's where we're going. And I'm like, all right. That was convicting enough to go, all right, Lord, like, how do I make this transition?
Pearl of great price.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And he goes, God's like, for a month, I'm praying, like, how do I make this transition? I don't have a degree. I don't have anything to fall back on. The priest of that church had an electrical engineering degree to fall back on. So when he actually got kicked out of his Christian school in California, he went back to electrical engineering for the years while he's converting and becoming a priest. I didn't have that. I had a 1-year-old son, a wife who were trying to make it possible to stay home. And
It's scary.
it was so scary. And I loved my church. I loved my people.
Sure.
The church I was at was really incredible. They actually started talking about saints. We were an emergent church, so we were playing with candles and creeds and candles.
And stuff.
Yeah, that flavor. Like my pastor, we were not officially an emergent church, but my pastor was friends with Brian McLaurin and Rob Bell. And actually, Bo gave me a book by Brian McLaurin
I read
that led me that
Elvis
way.
and thought it was amazing.
Yeah,
The Numa videos.
Amen.
Come on. The Numa
it
video.
challenged
I was
us.
right there.
So
I was
good.
right
Totally.
there.
And so in that, I was praying. I'm like, but I want to worship you in the Orthodox church, but here I am working at this other church. And at that point, my lead pastor got booted. In my 600-person church, we had 1,500 people over 3 locations, but I was responsible for the main location, which was 600 people.
Yeah.
It went from 600 to 230 days.
Wow.
Because he got booted. He dropped some bombs on the way out of the door. And my job just went away. They just couldn't, they didn't fire me, but they couldn't afford me anymore, right? And the youth pastor is always the first one to be let go because kids don't pay the bills. And I'm like, all right, Lord, this is it. We're doing this. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not able to go sign another doctrinal statement. I know that, not honestly, and be transparent with them. Yeah. I converted enough. I remember going down in my emergent church to communion and going, Lord, I know they don't believe this is your body, but I do now. And so if there's any amount of grace or, tithes own epiclesis, right? And I was just doing that. And so at that point, the funny part was I couldn't find a job. I couldn't think of what I would do besides go back to Starbucks and, be a barista again. And I needed more money than that to support my family because we had a kid. And so I thought about selling the kid. And no, I didn't sell the kid. He's cool. He's 16 now. He's a wonderful kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess I'm going to call my family business in Arizona. And so my buddy went to Montana to work with his family business to convert and left the Lutheran ministry. And I ended up moving to Arizona, worked with my family business, which is RV Parks, to have a job. And I commuted an hour and 45 minutes to liturgy every other week because that's all we could afford to do. Yeah. And we converted over 18 months after that. So I was like a catechumen for 6 months before I moved to Arizona. And then just while I was trying to figure out what to do. Sure. And then we did another 18 months catechumen period just because it was so slow because we were so far away. Yeah. Actually, one of the ladies here, Sandra, I stayed at her house for Pascha. Me and my 2 kids.
Is she like Havasu?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where I converted in OCA. And then once I was done working for my family business, I'm like, I'm never moving to Lake Havasu because I do not love the desert. And Sandra and my other friends were over there like, come move here. And I'm like, no, I'm going back to Colorado. I'm going to I was going to go Fort Collins or Colorado Springs because I didn't want to go back to the metro area. But then we found Prescott, Arizona, and fell in love. And Father John was there at that time, and he loved me really well. Kenny, that guy who used to be in the background, He's over there. The
We
first time
we have
visited,
a studio audience here. There's quite a few people listening.
Yeah.
To us. It's kind of fun.
we have those clap signs, and it's wonderful. But we just went up there actually to go camping and to get back into some pine trees, being from Colorado. And while we were there, the church was there, and we fell in love with the church. And
That's amazing.
So about a year after we converted, we moved to Prescott. Almost exactly a year from Pasca to
Wow.
Pasca. Moved to Prescott. We commuted there for 6 months. Would camp in Kenny's front yard in the back of my pickup truck with my 2 kids and wife on Saturday nights. Go to Vespers, liturgy, Costco, and then go home.
That's awesome.
And it was incredible.
After liturgy, Costco stop.
Dude, it is. You have
That's
to.
hilarious.
When you live out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
you're like, I need supplies too.
Do you know what strikes me as so interesting, and not just from YouTube, but from other like coming to Orthodoxy stories I've heard, is this combination of miracle and relationship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like these things happen. Ethics of beauty. How did that happen? Or or like all these weird little moments that are unexplainable, tied with. But my friend gave it to me that I trusted.
Yeah.
That this
Yes.
priest loved me so
Yeah,
much. And if
exactly.
it wasn't for the yaya who turned around and loved my kid instead of scolding me.
Oh, that
right?
would have turned me off.
Right.
Like if my kid wasn't welcome there, because I was pushing that envelope at my emergent church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was welcome there, I'm like, oh, I might be able to get into this.
You know what's so fascinating? One of the main reasons of doing this podcast is to provide. There's 2 aspects of it. There's people who are on their own journey into the church, and this really encourages and gives them a sense of I'm not alone in this. People have done this before me. But there's also this perspective of those of us who have been in the church for a while, or maybe even our whole life, gaining a perspective to how sensitive it is to come in with your child for the first time, and how much it does matter to not be grouchy or but to be overly sensitive to the
Yes.
journeyers, to the seekers, right?
Right.
And understanding how long the transition
Oh,
takes.
man,
It's
yeah.
not like somebody's going to come to your parish and immediately join. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many obstacles that are presented to people,
Sure,
inquirers who are coming externally, but also there's these internal obstacles that people
Absolutely.
need to be aware of and
Well,
patient with.
your story's got so many potential landmines
Oh, yeah.
for somebody to step on that doesn't even know about whatever, like.
Well, I told Kenny, the guy in the audience behind us, I said, man, one time we were
You're
sitting.
gonna have to just come over here and wave.
Kenny's going to have to get into this at some point. But me and him and Ty were sitting at a coffee shop one day, and I think it was either during Lent, like right before Pascha or right after Pascha, and I was whining and complaining because I wanted to do something, and they're like, "Nah, you're a catechism and just hang out." And I was like, "Man, there's
The Kenny.
the beautiful Kenny."
The beautiful, because there is a not beautiful Kenny that comes out for the rest of the year. He grows his beard out.
Yeah, the homeless Kenny just got cut.
Yeah. We got rid of him on Good Friday.
That's fun.
Yeah, but I said, man, there's so many barriers to entry within
Yeah.
Orthodoxy. And he responded, well, yeah, most of those are your own fault. And he was right. Annoyingly so, Kenny. Annoyingly so.
Excellent point. Excellent.
Yeah. But, as coming out of a Protestant denomination, especially for 20 years as a Protestant and a pastor at one point, it was, you have so much theology you need to work yourself out of before you can, embrace Orthodoxy, in addition to all of the sin and, all the problems in your own heart that you just need to work through. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. It's super a lot. One of the things I think of is the church is a hospital.
Kenny, you're going to make a great deacon
Oh my
someday.
gosh.
That's right.
Here we go. So one of the aspects of the church being a hospital, when we think of it in the context of people coming to the church for healing, for transformation, and we think about it, if you show up to the hospital doors, the emergency room, with a gunshot wound and you're bleeding out, or maybe you vomited all over yourself, or you're just a hot mess. Nobody there is.
Were you talking about Clergy-Laity?
No, I'm not talking about.
Oh, you're talking about something
But
else.
just the idea of coming into a church and not doing it right.
Oh, yeah.
Not being, you know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
the perspective we should have as those in the church isn't just when they come through the front door, we realize they're entering a hospital. They've probably thrown up on themselves, that they've got. What is that noise? Is there a phone going? Are you turning on? Is Siri talking to you from
I
your
don't think so.
I
hear it too.
I
Yeah,
keep
so-
hearing something.
Like, what lady's talking?
weird.
to me?
Yeah, who is this?
Where is it?
I would
It's
say
Linda.
this.
Linda's calling me.
Linda came out of nowhere. Funny.
I figured out a long time ago, but it's something that I had to remind myself about 6 to 9 months ago. The church is a hospital, but not all of the patients are taking well to the medication. And so that
and the patients are the physicians a lot of times.
Right.
Like we're supposed to be
right. So as one, like, I have a gunshot wound and I'm coming into the church. Sure. You're expecting like physicians to be there to like heal you. Turns out you're interfacing with other patients, and not all of them are as well off as you are. Some of them are in worst case. So then, you're hit by.
You may have entered the mental side.
Absolutely,
of that thing and encountered who knows what. Right.
I think oftentimes I am the bad patient. Like my wife came in and she's like, I receive all medication or all treatment, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna read about this doctor. I'm gonna Google him and get the reviews. And it took me a year of studying. I went and I diligently went because I read enough to not go back. Right, like I tell my friends, I don't start reading the Fathers.
You let yourself off the hook, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm just like, if you read the Fathers, like, don't read the Fathers. And they're like, why? I'm like, because you'll become Catholic, Orthodox, or Anglican. And they're like, well, no. I'm like, if you start reading the Fathers, you're gonna be.
That's it.
You can't unlearn things. And so I learned enough that I couldn't unlearn and go away. But I hated it. I hated the repetition prayer. I hated the kissing things. I hated what I thought was still worship of saints and Mary. Kissing the hand of the priest. Like I had all the Protestant arguments, but I kept going and I kept learning. And it took me a full year of studying why do they swing smoke in my face? And how is that not pagan?
Right.
To the point where I was like, it took me a year to get to the point where I was okay with it. My wife was in it from the first time we went. So like, I think the patient is very important, right? Like I had so much intellectual, not baggage, just misunderstandings or presuppositions. My wife just came and go, I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you are so simple. Thank God, because you married me and your simpleton helps me.
You know what's interesting that connects to my story is my wife couldn't stand it. But our first service, I made her leave her coffee in the car. She thought, how ridiculous is that? I dragged her to Orthodox while she's pregnant, so the incense was bothering her. So she leaves the building and is sitting outside on a park bench, just completely angry at the world and me and everything. And as people kept passing her coming to church, trickling in, every single one of them stopped to see if she was okay, to say hi. And she's like, why are these people loving me so much? I just want to hate them all. And they're loving me so much. And then even our one of our deacons, the original deacon at St. Spirit on Deacon Mark, comes out from behind the sacristy, and we had like a back door thing at the old 5th Street building, comes out and checks on her, and she's like, in her mind, she's like, what are you doing out here? You're supposed to be in there swinging your smoke, and you're out here checking on me? What is wrong with these people?
That's so good.
So they just loved her, and then she had a lot of fear that we were getting into just another one of Nolan's hobby flings thing, because I was going around the world on just searching for something more.
Yes, I know.
And just couldn't find anything. And I wasn't really too sure about this Orthodox thing, but I was getting pretty excited about what was resonating. And she was just so hesitant to do something cheap and to just do something because it was head knowledge. And I think that what eventually happened is she caught the heart of it. And then, of course, it's the classic story of like she passed me, and I'm sitting at our kitchen table with Father Evan and my wife and me, and I ask a question, and she turns to me and is like, "Well, this, of course." And then Father Evan's like, "Yep, exactly." And I'm like, "How do you know this stuff? You don't care about theology. You don't get into any of this stuff." And Father Evan's just like, "She has an Orthodox heart. She gets it, right? She doesn't need all the head knowledge. It just comes to her." So,
but the hard thing for me for that was that we were taught that head knowledge was everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that is not intellectually like explained that way, but that's how we received it, right? Like I received that I had to prove myself to be a good workman unto the Lord.
Yeah.
Study myself to be a good workman unto the Lord.
Well, when the whole thing's based on the premise of know the right stuff and say the right words,
have your proof text set,
then
have an answer ready for you when people ask you why you have hope.
Yeah.
And my wife goes, I just love it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
That's not enough.
Yeah.
It kind of comes down to scholasticism versus mysticism,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
you kind of see in the East-West divide.
It's
Well,
beauty first instead of truth first.
Exactly.
The whole nine yards.
Well, then that's the interesting thing. Like now, the questions I had as a Protestant going like, well, how does the mentally handicapped fellow take this
I had
in?
that up. I brought that as well, related to baptism. It's like if you have to be able to profess it first before you get dunked,
Yes.
what hope does anyone who is decapacitated or whatever have? What do you do with them?
Yep. Absolutely.
They didn't have answers.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like there,
Y'all are all
that was
such nerds.
yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty nerdy.
It is.
That's what I do.
I think that is the nerd level. It's interesting and it's serious. Like my friends who read end up becoming Orthodox, Catholic, or Anglican
Yeah.
because the nerd you step into too much.
Yeah.
My wife
And you can't unknow what
was
you
just
know.
experiences, and you can't unexperience something either. So like
Yeah.
we both came from this thing where you can't undo something,
Yeah.
but it was totally different worlds. But both were totally welcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
My
Yes.
anger and misconceptions at introduction to Orthodoxy classes was welcome. And so it's funny, after I complained to that priest after that first service, he's like, yep, welcome, glad you came.
Yep.
And he had
Yeah.
no, I was looking for a fight.
Yeah.
Right? I was the guy looking for a
Oh
fight.
yeah, I showed up to Father Evans' office and said, "What do you have to believe to be an Orthodox Christian?"
Yes.
And his response
When am
was,
I in? When am I out?
Yeah, he's like, "Well, we can talk about that, but why are you here?" And it was like, "Oh, interesting."
That is perfect.
Oh, it's so good.
Touche.
That's
Yeah, it was
perfect.
very good. Well, this segues beautifully because the last episode that no one here has seen except for me, because it hasn't even been released yet as of this recording, we had a bunch of ladies join and tell their stories. And then the question was, why ortho bros and not ortho gals? Like, why are we appealing to so many young men? And I can do the spoiler because if you haven't seen the last episode, you can go check it out and get the in-depth. But the consensus among the ladies was, in America, in the West, we usually have a very intellectual, academic approach to things. And within our social media, YouTube, internet world, it's easy to put material out around the theology, around the academics. And so because you've got the Jonathan Pageau and Peterson pipeline, and you got this whole idea, it appeals to the male tendency to grab knowledge and then pursue. But what they were saying is usually ladies are heart first, not head first.
Sure.
They want to know you care. They want to relate to that. Not all, but generally speaking. And so it was curious because it ties into this week's talks by Father Martin about international missions, and then what's it look like to actually do missions in your own backyard here in the United States. Where are the barriers? Where are the opportunities to go out and be part of the community? I think that's what we're missing is how do we go and just love people directly, give them the encounters of what it is to be part of a community of people, that they don't have to feel like they're going into something foreign, but we're going out to them,
Right.
participating in their world, and not coming at them necessarily. Not that we should stop the theology and the talks.
Sure.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And guys are coming in droves. But I think to connect with more of the heart, we have to go and serve like the Good Samaritan. And all too often, I feel like we give our money to other parties to go do the work for us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's great to donate and to support things, but
That's part of the American evangelistic method.
Yeah.
I'll pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I would agree with you that a woman, especially because she has the mystical ability to bear a child, has a deep longing for the mystical.
Yeah.
I have noticed that it's different for women than men. This
Bearing a child is different.
that's a different podcast. Thank you very much.
Can we
It
do a
is
science
different.
podcast next?
I'm ready to jump into the
Ty.
next one.
Because this is 2025. If you don't know,
I'm not going to do the Science
Okay,
with
all
Ty
right, all right.
podcast. I'm not on that one, just so you know. But we have a deep understanding of the mystical, and I think that, which is why, it seems anecdotally from people that I know that women are able to come in and say, "Yes, I'm home," right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think when we're going out to find that lost sheep, when we're engaging with women, leading with that heart first
Absolutely.
is so important because we don't know our place in this world right now. And Orthodoxy offers a unique and powerful place for a woman.
That's beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
very and and a mystical place. It's a whole nother podcast.
It is a whole other podcast because a lot of women are afraid of it initially. They see it as like, oh, am I going to become
because we're
subordinated, or
told
what's
it's
the-
patriarchal,
Yeah.
and the definition for that word is a whole nother podcast,
Yeah,
right?
for
And
sure.
so I think it's really important that along with the theological, along with the nerdy stuff and the arguments, I mean, to understand that it is beauty that saves the world.
Yeah. It's
Right?
It's beautiful.
It's interesting though that you would say like this is a time when women don't know their place in the world, because I would think the Peterson-Pajot pipeline that we just spoke of, it actually speaks directly to that same point with men, right? Because in a time of liquid modernity, you know, where the
it's a chiastic movement.
where the landscape changes so quickly, the
Those
definition
are big words, you guys. I have no idea what we're talking about
Ethics
anymore.
of beauty reference.
So if anybody wants to,
Well, I think it's a both and, right? Like
Right.
if men don't know their places because women don't either.
Right.
It's like
Neither one of them know their place. So
everything's confused.
Orthodoxy directly ministers to both in
Yeah.
that respect. The other thing that I had a conversation with a gentleman in our church on Friday. We were talking about this, and it goes to the point of this conference we're at. But I think that, you know, the internet's really good, like you were saying, with hitting the young male mind. And what this gentleman and I were saying were, how do we reach the 30-year-old married mother of two?
Yeah.
Right, who's probably not sitting on YouTube for 3 hours every night watching these kind of things. And the answer was, we need evangelism. Like, we need purpose. The Orthodox Church, I think one of the three of you said earlier, the Orthodox Church has not historically been very good at evangelism, at least in the United States.
Recent history.
Yeah, recent history. And so I would just say,
I will tell you what, the 30-year-old mother of two is pagan.
very
She's
probably.
with her friends. She is exploring rituals that honor her womanhood, that connect her with nature,
interesting.
that speak to her reality. And so I think, in terms of evangelism, orthodoxy is the solution and answer for these women.
Wow.
You can't believe how many of my friends are dabbling, right? Because they're looking for this beauty and the mysticism. And I do believe in the ortho bro thing, right? We need strong men.
Yeah.
But I'm so longing for someone to say, look, you don't, the pagan process is all about manipulation of reality to get your own ends. There's something greater. There's something more mystical. There's something more beautiful that's going to fulfill your deepest longings without you having to manipulate it, right?
Yeah.
You know what,
So this is what I would love to
that.
see.
That's good.
You know, my wife has done something quite organically, just by being her awesome self and not being afraid to show up in the world as herself. And I mean, she's got an Instagram account. It's called Growing This Home. If you want to check it out, you can. She will be horribly embarrassed if I say how many followers she has. It's in the thousands. And it's grown simply because she shares the story of her suffering and her pain through miscarriage, infertility, these taboo topics that for a long time weren't spoken, weren't talked about. She had an 80-year-old woman message her on Instagram and say, I had a miscarriage when I was in my 20s.
Wow.
And I have carried that pain my entire life, and your story has helped me grieve and process. And it's like, that is evangelism. That is
Amen.
embodied, incarnational, showing up, being yourself, even through Instagram. Which
And
is
it circles
crazy.
back around to the transparency
Yes.
that we've talked about, that the Orthodox Church, the Orthodox parish exists
Yes,
in, right?
yeah.
If we're a hospital, nobody goes to the hospital and won't talk about their symptoms.
Right.
We all know we're sick.
Well, what
So-
would a hospital look like if we all went trying to look perfectly healthy? And
Right.
like, what would that facility
be a
even
bunch of dudes.
be? You know?
it'd be a bunch of Jews pretending we're not sick and we die instead.
That's true. Yeah.
That's what it would be.
So it's a bar.
It's a bar.
It's a bar.
It's called a bar.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. We do drink in the Orthodox Church, but it's
Cheers.
to our health.
Oh. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. We're just over an hour, so I think that's just about enough time for this one. But
We're just getting warmed up. Are you
just
kidding
getting
me?
warmed up. We're gonna have to do another one in the morning. No,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
when
We'll do
Ty's
it
not
every
as
6
energetic.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I won't even be awake in the morning.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for this.
Thank
and
you.
if I'm ever local to you, which I am going to be in Oregon soon, we'll have to do one there.
Let's
but
do it. Let's do
I'm
it.
really excited to haul my gear around and just capture stories and visit parishes and do this type of work. So thank you all.
Thank you
We'll
for the
catch
opportunity.
catch you next time on Parish Life Podcast. Oh, the studio people.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's so funny.